She called him a monster and smashed his car. Now the virgin has the millionaire falling in love. Bacon, sweetie, mommy loves you so much. You know that? If something ever happened to you, I don't think I could go on. Claire whispered softly into the little piglet's ear, planting a tender kiss on top of its head. If anyone were watching from afar, they would have thought she was cradling her own child. Isn't that a bit much, hun? Her mother called out from the backyard where she was doing laundry. No, Mom, I mean it, Claire replied, her eyes shimmering with sincerity. Bacon is my baby. If something happens to him, I don't even want to think about it. Bacon gave a small grunt, almost as if he understood her pain. Claire hugged him tighter. I don't even want to have kids anymore. Bacon's enough. I just want him for the rest of my life. Oh my God, drama queen alert, Charlie, her younger brother said while scratching his head. It's just a pig, Claire. You're acting like it's human or something. Claire shot him a death glare. What's that supposed to mean? Just because he's a pig, I can't treat him like family? Try telling that to someone with a dog. Charlie grinned. Yeah, but dogs don't usually end up roasted. Bacon probably will. Dad's already planning to sell him once he grows up. That hit Claire like a punch to the gut. Without a word, she kicked off her sandal and hurled it at him. Over my dead body, Bacon is my child. Say that again and I'll sell you instead. Why not just record his roasting journey? Bacon to bacon bits, the saga. Charlie continued, teasing, giggling. Another sandal came flying at him, narrowly missing his head. Claire was fuming, red-faced with rage. Can you two calm down already? Their mother shouted. Charlie, help me with the laundry. Claire, go start lunch. Your dad will be home any minute. Claire sulked. But I still need to deliver my soaps. You can do that after you cook. Your customers will understand if you're a little late. Claire sighed. But I already promised, Mom. I said I'd be there on time. What if they get mad? Charlie chuckled again. Claire glared. One more word and I swear I'll roast you for real. Bacon would probably enjoy the feast. Eventually, Claire stomped into the house, snatching her sandals and scooping up Bacon. Stay here, okay, Bacon? Don't move or you might fall. Be Mommy's good boy, she cooed, placing him gently on the table. Bacon, oddly enough, stayed still. He always listened to Claire. Sometimes she thought he was even smarter than Charlie. Claire started cooking, white rice and her signature honey-glazed chicken. While the pot simmered, she packed her handmade soap orders into a basket, her side business that helped support the family. No one could quite understand why Claire loved that pig so much. But for her, Bacon wasn't just a pig. He was happiness. He was comfort. He was home. After finishing lunch, Claire quickly changed clothes, slung her soap basket over her shoulder, and turned back to check on Bacon. Be a good boy, okay? Mommy will be back in a bit, she said, kissing the top of his head before leaving. The deliveries went well. Her regulars praised the scents, even placed more orders. Once the basket was empty, Claire smiled, pleased, and headed home. But the moment she reached the gate, something felt wrong. The door was open, and Bacon was nowhere in sight. Bacon, she called, panic rising in her chest. She rushed inside, checking every corner. Nothing. Bacon, she screamed louder, now frantically searching the backyard, the shed, even the pig pen. Still no sign. Her heart thundered as she dashed out toward the road. And then she saw him. Bacon was waddling across the street, his tiny hooves tapping the pavement, completely unaware of the danger. A black pickup truck was barreling down the road. Claire couldn't even scream in time. Thud! Bacon flew into the grass with a dull thump. Bacon! Claire shrieked, running like mad toward him. She dropped to her knees beside his trembling body. Blood seeped from his leg. He was still alive, but barely. Rage surged through her. She looked up at the truck that had just skidded to a stop. Without thinking, she grabbed a nearby rock and hurled it straight at the windshield. Crash! It shattered instantly. The driver jumped out, clearly shocked and angry. Are you crazy? You just broke my windshield. Claire shot up, eyes brimming with tears and fury. You hit my baby, she screamed. That's my child, you monster. Wait, what? That thing? It's just a pig, the man exclaimed. You're calling that your baby? Claire's body shook. You should be in jail for nearly killing him. Whoa, hold on. I didn't do it on purpose. It's an animal. Maybe you should have kept it indoors. Shut up, she roared. I don't want to hear anything from someone with no heart. The man stepped back, raising both hands as if surrendering. All right, I messed up. Let me take you and… Bacon, is it? To a vet. Claire hesitated, then looked down at her piglet, gasping in pain. She had no choice. You touch him too hard, I'll murder you, she snapped. Understood, he muttered, gently picking Bacon up and heading for the truck. During the drive, Claire sat stiffly, hands clenched on her lap, refusing to speak. But out of the corner of her eye, she noticed the man softly stroking Bacon's back, trying to soothe him. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't entirely heartless after all. The air in the truck was thick with tension. Claire stayed silent, her hands gripping her now empty basket, occasionally glancing at Bacon lying in the stranger's arms. The same man she had nearly tried to murder minutes ago. He was surprisingly gentle. His hand never left Bacon's back, stroking slowly, soothingly. He's still breathing, the man murmured, his hand trembling slightly. Hang in there, buddy. I didn't mean to hurt you. Claire closed her eyes, holding back the tears threatening to spill. Now wasn't the time to break down. When they arrived, the man jumped out, carrying Bacon with care. Claire rushed in behind him, nearly yelling at the receptionist. Please help him, help Bacon. She didn't care what people thought. Bacon was her everything. A vet emerged quickly and took Bacon from Liam's arms. Claire finally caught the name on his jacket. We'll do our best. Please wait outside. Claire nodded rapidly, though her whole body trembled. She watched as the emergency room doors swung shut, her heart sinking. She collapsed into one of the waiting chairs, covering her face with her hands. She didn't even notice Liam had sat down next to her. A pig, she whispered. Why do I love him this much? Liam turned slowly toward her. Because you have a heart, one that knows how to love, even a pig. Claire glanced at him, for the first time not seeing him as the enemy. You still hit him. I know. He nodded, not deflecting. And I'm sorry, I honestly didn't see him. I was just driving and he was there. I couldn't stop in time. Claire opened her mouth, but before she could speak, the vet returned. Bacon's going to be fine, he smiled gently. Good thing you got him here early. He lost some blood, but it's not life-threatening. His back leg is fractured. We'll set it and keep him overnight for monitoring. Claire burst into tears instantly. She rushed forward and hugged the vet tightly. Thank you. Thank you so much. You saved my baby. Liam stood back, fists clenched. He wasn't used to this, feeling guilty and helpless all at once. Let me cover the medical bills, he offered quietly. Claire turned to face him. I don't want your money, she said, her voice still shaky. It's not about money, Liam replied, eyes fixed on Bacon through the glass. It's about making things right. Claire didn't answer, but for the first time, she didn't yell or glare. And that was a start. The next morning, Claire woke up with a foggy mind and heavy heart. She hadn't slept much, tossing and turning all night thinking about Bacon. The vet said he'd be okay, but her heart still felt uneasy. As she sat down at the breakfast table, her mom spoke up. Go freshen up, honey. Someone's coming to stay with us for a while. Claire frowned. Who? May and Rick's son. They just sent him back to the countryside for a bit. I didn't ask for details, but apparently he got suspended from his job in the city for causing trouble. And you're letting some stranger live here? Claire was incredulous. He's not a stranger, Claire, her father chimed in. You know him. Claire was about to argue when the front door swung open. The man who stepped in made her jump to her feet. It was him, the one who hit Bacon yesterday. Liam. No way, she whispered. Morning, Liam said, scratching his head, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Been a while, Claire. What the hell are you doing here? Claire nearly shouted. Claire, her mom snapped. Don't be rude. You don't remember Liam Walker? Your childhood friend? You two used to be inseparable. Claire's eyes widened. He's Liam. He's May and Rick's godson. You two spent every summer together at Grandpa's farm. Remember the piglet you raised? Claire blinked, memories tugging at the edge of her mind. It had been so long. She'd buried those summers deep, almost forgotten. Claire felt like lightning struck her chest. Bacon, she murmured. Yeah, Liam smiled gently. We had a pig named Bacon. Maybe that's why you named yours the same? Claire flushed red, her words catching in her throat. Part of her wanted to scream at the absurdity of it all, but another part felt a strange warmth blooming in her chest. I don't agree with this, she said firmly. I can't live with the person who nearly killed my baby. Claire, take a breath, her mother said softly. Yesterday was an accident. Liam brought you to the vet. He paid the bills. The least you could do is acknowledge that. Claire stayed silent and sank into her chair. Liam quietly rolled his bag toward the guest room. Before disappearing, he turned back. I'm not here to make trouble. I just need a place to stay for a few months. But if my being here makes you uncomfortable, I'll keep my distance. Claire didn't respond, but the way she looked at him was no longer filled with rage. That night, as she passed by the guest room, Claire heard soft guitar music. The melody was familiar. A lullaby their grandfather used to play when they were little. A flash of memory danced across her mind. A curly-haired boy with a wide grin, holding a baby pig, sitting beside her under a big tree. Maybe that memory had never truly faded. Maybe she had just forgotten. The first few days of Liam staying at Claire's house were filled with thick, awkward silence. Claire avoided him like the plague. If he was in the living room, she went upstairs. If he was in the kitchen, she turned around. Most people would have taken the hint and backed off, but not Liam. Every morning he woke up early to help Claire's dad chop wood, fix the fence, or volunteer to do dishes, unasked. At first, Claire thought he was just putting on a show, but as the days passed, his persistence began to unsettle her. One afternoon, as she was cooking, Claire turned around and found Liam quietly chopping vegetables behind her. "What are you doing?" she snapped. "Chopping veggies," Liam replied as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "No one asked you to." No one had to. You look busy," he said with a soft grin, "and I like helping." Claire didn't know whether to be annoyed or confused. What confused her even more was when her parents complimented the soup that night. It tastes better than usual. Turned out, Liam had added a tiny pinch of salt, just the right amount. One evening, Liam got hurt. Charlie came running into the house, breathless. "Claire, Liam got into a fight." Claire dropped the ladle she was holding and rushed outside. There he was, sitting on the ground near the gate, a bruised cheek and a busted lip. "What the hell did you do now?" she barked, wiping blood off his face. "Nothing. Those guys cheated in a basketball bet," he winced. "I just called them out." "You think you're some kind of superhero?" Claire scolded, but her hands were gentle as she dabbed ointment. "Idiot." "So, you do care," Liam teased, arching a brow. Claire paused, flustered. "I just don't want my parents finding a corpse at the gate." "Right, of course." Liam chuckled, but his gaze lingered on her with surprising warmth. A week after returning home, Bacon began to show signs of real recovery. He could now put light pressure on his back leg, even with the cast still on. Each time he tried to stand, he let out a proud little oink, like he was saying, "Mom, look, I did it." Claire watched his every movement with quiet awe. She even started documenting the moments in photos, creating a little album she called Bacon's Road to Recovery. Every evening, Claire would sit beside Bacon, gently rubbing his back and whispering soft stories as if reading him fairy tales. And every evening, without fail, Liam would bring a small stool, sit across from her, and simply stay. Sometimes he scratched Bacon's ear. Sometimes he just sat in silence. Claire no longer pushed him away. She no longer avoided him. She let him stay. "This pig is kind of magical," Liam whispered one night. "How so?" Claire asked. "He got hurt, then healed. And somehow, by being near him, I feel like I'm healing too." Claire didn't answer, but when she turned to look at him, she met his eyes. Not the cocky, careless gaze from before, but something gentler, warmer, honest. And something stirred quietly in her chest. Soft, slow, like a seed sprouting beneath winter soil. Maybe something was beginning. From that day on, something shifted. Claire stopped avoiding him. She still scolded him for walking around shirtless or kicking a ball too close to the laundry line, but her tone was less sharp, more amused than annoyed. One afternoon while she was sitting with Bacon, now home from the vet and resting, Liam walked over with a glass in hand. "Here, what's this?" "Fresh orange juice. Good for the heart," he said, sitting beside her. "You know, watching you fuss over Bacon like that makes me kind of jealous." Claire raised an eyebrow. "Jealous? Of a pig?" "Yeah," Liam winked. "I wish you cared about me like that." Claire scoffed. "Grow a curly tail and oink, and we'll talk." "I'm practicing. Every morning I call, 'Claire, Claire.' You never answer. I'm thinking of switching to oink oink." "Maybe that'll work." Claire burst into laughter. For the first time in weeks, the laugh was real. She didn't know exactly when Liam stopped being annoying. Maybe it was his patience. Maybe it was how he never gave up. Or maybe it was the way he was always there, even if it was just with a glass of orange juice. Rain had started falling in the late afternoon. The first rain of the season came fast and unexpected, making the air crisp and chilly. Claire checked the clock. It was past 8 p.m. Bacon was asleep in his bed, but Liam was nowhere to be found. She passed through the living room, empty. The kitchen, no one. His room, door wide open, lights off. A flicker of worry crossed her face. She grabbed her raincoat and stepped out into the backyard. Darkness blanketed the sky. The cold wind made her shiver. Then she saw it, a faint light glowing from the treehouse at the back of the yard. As she got closer, she heard soft guitar music mixing with the steady patter of rain. "Liam?" she called gently. The treehouse door creaked open. Liam was sitting on the wooden floor, cradling his guitar. Beside him lay Bacon, wrapped in a blanket, quiet and still. "Sorry, I didn't mean to worry you," he said softly. "It's just the rain. I like the mood it brings." Claire stepped inside and sat beside Bacon, pulling him into her lap. "When I was little, every time it rained, Grandpa and I would come up here," she said. "He'd play guitar and I'd fall asleep on his chest." Liam smiled. "I remember." Silence fell between them. The rain on the roof created a soft, soothing rhythm. "I'm scared," Claire whispered. "Of what?" "Of loving again." She turned her face away. "I loved someone once. He left. And now, I feel my heart beating again." Liam looked at her quietly. "Are you talking about me?" Claire bit her lip. Then, almost as if the words had been caged too long, she blurted out, "Yes, I think I like you." The air stood still. "Actually," Liam said slowly, "I've liked you since the first day we met again. Even when you yelled at me, threw a rock at me, and threatened to feed me to your pig. I still saw something in you, something worth staying for." Claire laughed through misty eyes. "You were still the best person I've ever known." He moved closer, closer still. Claire didn't pull away. She met his gaze, for the first time, without walls. The kiss lasted in total silence. No giggles, no music, just the sound of rain tapping against the wooden roof and Claire's heart pounding like a war drum. She didn't know who closed their eyes first. All she knew was, in that moment, everything else faded. No more anger, no more broken memories. Just two wounded people, finally finding each other. When their lips parted, Claire kept her eyes closed. Her heartbeat was so loud she could hardly breathe. Liam was still looking at her, his hand resting gently against her cheek. Warm, steady. "I really do like you," Claire breathed out, barely audible. "I'm sure of it now." "And I've never stopped liking you," Liam replied, his voice no louder than a whisper. A tender pause hung between them. But then the familiar weight of fear crept back in. Claire turned away, her gaze darkening. "But what about my parents? What will they think?" she murmured. "We grew up together. We used to share a bed when we were kids. And now we're—" She couldn't even finish the sentence. Liam gently took her hand, fingers wrapping around hers. "We haven't done anything wrong, Claire. Love doesn't come with boundaries, as long as it's real." Claire didn't smile. Not yet. Her heart was opening. Yes. But fear had already taken root. She wasn't afraid of love. She was afraid of losing it. The next morning, Claire woke up feeling conflicted. The sweetness of last night's kiss still lingered on her lips, but so did the nerves. She glanced at Bacon, still sleeping soundly at the foot of her bed, then at the soft morning light spilling through the window. The world looked calm, but her heart was anything but. After breakfast, Claire pulled Liam aside into the garden. "We have to tell my parents," she said. "I don't want to hide this." Liam nodded immediately. "I was thinking the same. I don't want to be a secret." That afternoon during lunch with the whole family gathered around the table, Claire set her chopsticks down, hands trembling just slightly. I have something to say." Both her parents looked up, waiting. Claire glanced at Liam. He gave her a reassuring nod. "Liam and we're seeing each other," she said, her voice growing softer. "I know it might come as a surprise, but—" "Finally," her mom interrupted with a laugh, catching Claire completely off guard. "Wait, what?" "We already knew," her dad added. "We've been watching the way you two look at each other." "You really thought we wouldn't notice?" Claire's cheeks flushed red. Liam blinked in disbelief. "And honestly," her mom continued, placing more greens on Claire's plate, "we were hoping for this. Since Liam was a kid, I always said, if Claire ends up with Liam, I can rest easy." Claire's jaw dropped. You actually said that? Truer than your homemade soap," her dad chuckled. Liam smiled, sliding his hand under the table to gently squeeze hers. Claire met his gaze, her own eyes soft with relief. "So, you're not weirded out?" she asked. "I mean, we grew up together, slept in the same bed as kids, and now—" "Sweetheart," her mom said gently, "love comes from many places. Sometimes from friendship, sometimes from a car accident. As long as it's real." Claire was speechless. Her heart, once tangled with doubt, felt gently unraveled by the warmth of the people she loved most. As they stood up from the table, Bacon waddled over and let out a happy oink, as if joining the celebration. Claire scooped him into her arms and smiled. "You did good, Bacon. Everything's going to be okay. Because of you, I found him again. And because of you, I finally remembered how to love." That afternoon, Claire received the email she had been waiting for. She had passed her teaching certification exam. She read the message over and over again, tears welling up, her heart bursting after months of effort. "I did it," she whispered, hugging Bacon, who looked up at her in confusion. Just as she wiped her tears, Liam appeared at her door with a soft smile. "Get dressed. I've got a special evening planned for our future teacher." Before Claire could ask anything, he disappeared, leaving her with a heart full of nerves and curiosity. That night, Liam took her to a small rooftop terrace behind the farm, where they used to play hide-and-seek as kids. But now it was transformed, strung with golden lanterns, scattered with wildflowers, and at the center a candlelit dinner table glowing warmly in the cool autumn air. Claire stood still, stunned. "You did all this? For me?" she whispered. "For you. For your journey." "And for ours," Liam replied, pulling out her chair. The meal was simple, her favorite, creamy mushroom pasta and chamomile tea. But the way Liam looked at her, listening as she spoke about her studies, the nights she wanted to give up, the quiet victories, made the dinner feel like an emotional celebration. As they finished the last bites, Liam stood up. "I have one more gift." He gave a short whistle. From the stairs, Bacon waddled out. Strapped to his back was a tiny velvet box tied with a ribbon. Claire laughed through new tears. "I can't believe this." Liam knelt down and opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring, gleaming under the string lights above. "Claire Thompson," Liam said, voice deep and steady. "You're the only person who's ever called me emotionally unavailable and made me want to hear it again every morning." They both chuckled. "But you're also the one who made me believe in love again. Even if it started with a car accident and a rock to the head." Claire smiled through her tears, cheeks wet. "I've seen you strong, hurt, and grow, and I know I don't want to miss another second of it without you." He held out the ring. "Will you marry me?" Claire burst into tears. Without hesitation, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him, nodding again and again. "Yes, Liam, I will." I will. They held each other for a long time on the rooftop, under a sky full of stars. Below them, Bacon let out a proud little oink, like he too was cheering them on. Claire leaned her head on Liam's shoulder, gazing down at the farm lights below, the place where it all began, with anger, misunderstandings, then healing, and finally love. "We went such a long way around," she whispered. "But in the end," Liam smiled, "you still chose me." After the proposal, Claire and Liam sat together on the rooftop for a long while. The night breeze was soft, carrying the scent of grass and the quiet little snorts of Bacon resting nearby. Claire leaned her head on Liam's shoulder and smiled gently. "I still can't believe how we started." "You mean the crash? Or the basket of soap you almost smashed into my head?" Liam teased. Claire burst into laughter. "Both. I really hated you back then." "I know," Liam grinned, "and you had every right to." She went quiet for a moment, then whispered, "But you didn't walk away. Even when I yelled, blamed you, shut you out, you stayed." Liam looked at her with warmth. "Because behind the anger in your eyes, I saw pain, and I understood it." Claire nodded, her eyes shimmering in the soft glow of the string lights. "We didn't fall in love like lightning. We found each other because we both needed healing. And in the end, we became each other's healing." After a long pause, she added softly, "If Bacon hadn't run into the road that day, then I'd still be some nameless guy in the city," Liam said, finishing her thought. "Lonely, not knowing what I really needed." Claire smiled. She looked up at the star-filled sky, her heart light and full. Yes, their love wasn't loud, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. Born from a wound, and sealed with a promise. The following spring, Claire officially began her first teaching job at the nearby village elementary school. On her first morning, she wore a crisp white blouse and carried a small bouquet of sunflowers. Liam's gift, left on the kitchen counter with a note, "Bring your light to the kids today." As Claire stepped into the classroom, her heart fluttered with excitement and nerves. Little faces turned up to greet her, bright-eyed and curious. It felt like a true beginning, the start of the journey she had dreamed of for so long. Nearby, a wooden house was nearing completion. Liam, with help from Claire's dad, had been building their home from the ground up. Every plank, every nail was laid with love and quiet intention. "I don't want this to be just a house," Liam had once told her. "I want it to be the place you always feel safe coming home to." Bacon, now fully recovered, had become the unofficial guardian of the yard. He would sprint toward the gate and oink happily whenever Claire came home, like a loyal little dog in piggy form. Sometimes the neighborhood kids would visit and line up to rub Bacon's belly, calling him their lucky pig. Claire laughed every time, her heart full. At night, under the soft golden glow of their new porch lights, Claire and Liam would sit side by side on the wooden steps holding hands. They didn't need to say much. They had walked through their share of storms, misunderstandings, pain, loneliness. But they had also found each other, through patience, through love, and through deep gratitude for every moment that led them here. Claire looked up at the star-filled sky. "I lost a lot to get here," she said quietly. "So did I," Liam replied. "But maybe it's what we lost that taught us how to cherish what we have." Liam nodded, gently squeezing her hand. And in that quiet moment, they both knew. No matter what the future held, they had each other. And that was the perfect beginning to everything.